Hello everyone. Today I am going to be talking about 10 types of health spreads. So I've done some fitness spreads, I've done some mental health spreads in the past. So now I'm going to kind of combine a few of those ideas into like some overall health spreads. This is particularly because I have been getting some recent health diagnoses lately. So one of the things that I have needed is finding ways to fit those into my normal spreads. So I wanted to share some of those ideas with you today, just so that you can get an idea for whatever diagnosis you may have, or how to integrate things going on in your life into your dailies, your weeklies, etc. So the first one I have is a monthly spread. I have it numbered 1 through 31 over here. It is meal planning with health monitoring. So for me in particular, I have to keep some sort of table like this. I have an app and then I keep it on my daily at the current moment. But I have to monitor my blood sugar because of my gestational diabetes. So one of the things that they want me to do is log what I eat and what my blood sugar is at fasting, 2 hours after breakfast, 2 hours after lunch, and then 2 hours after dinner, and then keep track of the types of snacks that I need to eat in order to maintain my blood sugar. So that's what I have set up here, is a meal plan with health monitoring, or a meal log with health monitoring. So again, I have each day of the week. I have a section for fasting, so that's right when you wake up, taking your blood sugar level, what I have for breakfast after that fasting, what my blood sugar was 2 hours after that breakfast. And then I usually log my snacks kind of towards the end of the day, not throughout the day. So like Greek yogurt or fruits or something to that effect, I will have intermittently. And then what my blood sugar is after each of those meals. So this is a spread that would be really, really helpful for me. Unfortunately, I have already set up my monthlies, but I do have some space, I think, in the next month that I can create another page so that I can monitor this, because that would be really, really helpful for me. Moving on to number 2, we have an informational page. So you got a diagnosis from your doctors, and you just need to kind of wrap your brain around what's going on with me now. So, for example, I have polycystic ovary syndrome. So I was diagnosed with that last year. And now I am trying to figure out, well, at the time, I was trying to figure out, we were going through fertility treatments, all that kind of stuff. So I just answered some basic questions that I had on an informational page for that diagnosis. So I have, what is it? How does it affect my body? What are the medical treatment options that were given to me by my doctors? Again, don't always consult your doctors when it comes to your diagnoses. Don't just go crazy on the internet. I mean, it's good to get information, but make sure you're looking for credible sources on this information. A lot of the stuff that I have is from my doctors, from NIH, things like that. How can I help myself? What are some ways that I can help my own self when it comes to not just medical treatment options, but for example, one of the medical treatment options was lifestyle changes. So how can I do that personally without any sort of medical intervention? And then what's next? You kind of talk about, okay, so here's where we go from here. I got the diagnosis. This is what we're trying first, medical wise. Like, for example, I was diagnosed with metformin first. So I would put, there's no cure, but we're trying metformin at this amount of dosage for this amount of time to see how that helps. If it doesn't help after a certain amount of time, if my periods are still irregular, for example, then I will be referred to X, Y, and Z. And that's indeed what ended up happening at that point in time. So this not only helps you with, okay, here's the basics of this diagnosis, but also what is the plan of action going forward? It is always really hard when you're hearing things from doctors and you're kind of in a funk, right? So trying to write down, okay, so here's the course of action. We try this particular medicine for 3 months. And if after 3 months my periods are still being affected, then we need to move on, right? And not waste time, for example. So number 2 is an informational page. Number 3 is tracking your daily symptoms. So I've put this on a weekly spread over here. So I have, I just have 3 of the days, but this would be a 2-page weekly where you have a section for your tasks, like your normal day. You have a section for events and your workouts. And then on the bottom here, I have a section for symptoms. So for example, I had low blood sugar and that led to me having a headache. So cause and effect of that kind of thing. I had abdominal pain and it ended up being round ligament pain in my left side. I have been getting that a ton in my second trimester. So that has been really rough. And then I have another one, anxiety, which is elevated heart rate. When I go to the doctors, for example, usually I have quite a bit of anxiety, and so my heart rate is quite elevated during those visits. So that is how to keep daily symptoms on a daily page. Of course, you can do this a ton of different ways. This is just an example. I'm just trying to give you some ideas to start to integrate if you're trying to do some sort of health tracking. Number 4 is an all-in-one daily. So each page is a different day. So you have the day of the week here, your mood, the water intake. So this is trying to get a lot of information in one day related to your health. So exercise, but of course it's a daily. So I wanted to include an area where you can put tasks in, symptoms that you're experiencing that day, sleep that that hopefully you got that evening. In particular, because of the gestational diabetes, I'm including blood sugar, but if you need to do your blood pressure, for example, you could also do that. And then a section for writing down your meals. So keeping track of all of the things that you want health-wise in a daily. Number 5 is a weekly overview. So this would be paired theoretically with some dailies. So I have a section for each day of the week, and I didn't count very well, so I added an extra day accidentally. So these are things that you could say, oh, for next week. I just can't count. So we have top 3 like priority tasks that you want to get done in that day, the amount of sleep. For me, I put the blood sugar levels and total calories eaten. So each one of these is the fasting, after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner, and then total calories. The next one I put is blood pressure. I put total steps, and then your exercises. So these are a lot of related health things that you would put on the left side of the page, and then probably put some dailies towards the right side of the page. Or you can keep this after your monthly pages and then do each week and then do dailies after your weekly. It depends on how you like to set up your bullet journal. And then on this page, I also said, what are the goals? So yes, I hit 10,000 steps, but if my goal is 20,000 steps, that's barely half, right? So I wanted to put the goals. Okay, so my goal is 10,000 steps a day. So if I did 8,000 steps, I didn't quite reach my goals, but I was close, right? Work out 5 days a week. You would be able to see that from the exercises. Track glucose and blood pressure daily. So you want to see all of these columns filled out. And then sleep 7 to 9 hours a day, and you would be able to see that in this column. So that's setting some weekly goals and having a weekly health overview. Number 6 is calculating your calorie deficit. This is something that I don't think a lot of people quite understand. Usually they're like, oh, I'm going to eat X amount of calories a day. But there is some calculations that you should probably do when you go into it. So you want to find out your basal metabolic rate. So that is the amount of calories that you need when you are at rest. You don't do anything during the day. You could be just in bed all day, And that's how many calories that you need in order to sustain life, basically. And then based on how much you move, then you need to include your caloric need. So how active you are. If you're minimally active, moderately active, very active, extra active would be like elite athlete kind of thing. So for most people, they would probably put moderately active or minimally active if you work like a desk job, for example, and you exercise. So those are the ways that you calculate, okay, so based on me needing to live, what I need to sustain life, and then how much activity I'm doing on top of sustaining life, that is why I am calculating the BMR and calculating it 1.55 times if I'm moderately active, meaning I work out 5 to 7 days a week. And then if you want to be in a calorie deficit, take that caloric need and subtract it by 500. So that would be able to calculate, and that you can do more. It's harder, but that would be maintaining yourself in a calorie deficit. So that's one of the reasons why I put this on here. I don't think a lot of people know about how to eat in a calorie deficit if they are interested in losing weight for whatever reason they may be interested in that. So that's why I included it here, just to get an idea of, okay, then I can refer back to this as well in my bullet journal. And as your weight changes, this basal metabolic rate is based on your weight. So you may need to recalculate this multiple times. If you've lost 100 pounds, then your basal metabolic rate is going to be way different than when you first started. So you're going to need to continually check in to say, okay, I haven't reached my goal weight yet, but let me go ahead and recalculate because I have lost 20 pounds. Let's see how much that shifts the needle, for example. Number 7 is a set tracker. So I actually worked with my husband on this one. So we have the exercise over here, and then an example that we have here is doing 4 sets for 4 different workouts. And this is working out 4 different parts of your body. So chest press, you're working your chest. Front squat, you're working your legs. Single arm rows, you're working your back. Shoulder press, clearly you're working your shoulders. So we have the amount of weight, and this is in pounds. So if you are not in the US and you don't use pounds, you would just do kilograms. And then how many reps for that set. So we did 12 reps at 135 of the chest press. For set 2, we did 12 reps of 155 for the chest press. Set 3, 185 for 10 reps. And then set 4, 225 for 6 reps. And so that will help you in terms of how much you are growing, how much stronger you are getting, because you will see over time your set tracker, those numbers go up, right? Sometimes your reps don't always go up, but you will see the amount of total pounds that you are lifting going up during that time. So that is a set tracker. Number 8 is marathon training. And I actually got this idea from a Reddit page. So this is a 16-week program to help you get into marathon shape. And this is assuming that you have run at some point in your life before. This isn't like a couch to 5K kind of thing. This is okay, I'm a consistent runner, but training for a marathon is different, for example. And if you wanted to do a couch to 5K or a 5K training where you kind of take the same type of mentality where you're working up towards being able to run a marathon, that's what this idea is. So the first week is running 1, 2, 3, 4 days a week, and then resting 3 days a week. So Monday rest, 3 miles on Tuesday, 4 miles on Wednesday, resting on Thursday, 3 miles on Friday, resting on Saturday, 6 miles on Sunday, and the total amount of miles run during that week is 10. So it has it laid out for each week. I didn't feel like writing them all in, and you can check off each week once you've completed it. all the way up until week 16, which would be the week of the marathon. You can see that Sunday is 26.2 miles. That is the marathon day. So you would rest. And while you were doing a little bit more mileage on week 15, so you have like a 10-mile run, for example, this one is, okay, don't burn yourself out right before your marathon. So rest 4 miles, 4 miles, 3 miles, rest, and then do 26.2 miles on Sunday. Easy as that, right? No, it's not. But that's the idea of this one. When you are working up towards something and you want to do stepwise progress towards that goal. So that is marathon running. Number 9 is health in pixels. So this is a year in a pixels, except you are integrating things in your life that are related to your health. So for example, I split the box up into 4 pieces. You can also do it a different way. You can do pluses instead of the X. I decided to do the X because it's kind of a cool look. So number 1 on the left side would be your step goal is reached, and you put your step goal down here, 6 to 9 hours. The top section is if you completed a workout in that day. The right section is sugars in range. Again, for me, having the gestational diabetes, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. You can always swap these things out for other things that you would want to track. And the bottom is no headaches. So I get a ton of headaches, which I found out is correlated to my low blood sugar. Funny enough, these are the 4 things that theoretically I would be interested in tracking health-wise is my steps, did I complete a workout, are my sugars okay, and did I have a headache that day? The other one that I put is if you have a medical appointment that day, I put a big circle in the center. That way you can denote that as well. So that is a health in pixels. And this would be a really, really cool design if you continue it all through the year. And then the last one I have is a daily self-care challenge. There is not enough talk in healthcare about making sure that you are checking in with yourself and you are doing things just because they make you feel mentally good. Not just, okay, you're working out consistently. If that is your self-care, awesome, right? But sometimes that's not always the case. So for example, I made a little calendar here, and then I have a section on each day where I can put in a little sticker for the day because I love sticker planning. It's one of the things that I truly have adored recently is like getting to use these stickers. I'm also trying to use a lot of my stuff. So I've been doing that in an A6, but this is a great way to do for your self-care challenge. I also do it in my personal exercise log. So if you go back and look at me setting up any of the months and I flip through the old month, you can see how I am using stickers on each of my exercise log days. So this one is kind of the same idea. You have a little sticker to describe that type of self-care that day. So we have puppy cuddles for the first one. Number 2 is doing a little Animal Crossing day and having fun playing Animal Crossing. And number 3 is a date night, for example. So you continue to fill this in each of the days, what the actual self-care was, and then you would put a little sticker in here. You can do it a ton of different ways. Like I said, you don't have to do it with stickers. You could also, if you're practicing lettering, you could letter each day what your self-care was. You could do a self-care bingo instead. So this is the daily self-care challenge. So those are all 10 ideas that I had for health spreads and integrating health into your everyday spreads. We have meal plan and health monitoring. Number 2 is informational page. Number 3 is daily symptoms. Number 4 is an all-in-one daily. Number 5 is a weekly overview. Number 6 is calculating a calorie deficit. Number 7 is tracking your sets for your exercises for strength training. Number 8 is marathon training. Again, you could always swap that out for a 5K training if you're not ready to do a marathon yet. Number 9 is health in pixels, tracking 5 different things related to your health. Again, I added the medical appointments. So you would do each square into 4 sections. And then if you have a medical appointment, you would put a circle in as well. And then number 10 is that daily self-care challenge where you add a sticker and write down what that self-care was each day. So I hope that this gave you a ton of inspiration on things that you can do to track your health in your bullet journal. If you have more ideas, or if there are types of healthcare spreads that you include into your own bullet journal, please leave them in the comments below. And there are other videos on here about health spreads, health and fitness, and things like that. So definitely go back in my channel and take a look if you are interested in some more types of healthcare spreads, fitness, mental health, general medical health spreads, etc. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.